Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to have a book talk about Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I must say I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know much about this book going into it. I only read the back blurb. I tried to avoid any videos, trailers of the movies, any spoilers whatsoever, so I could enjoy this book without other people's opinions plaguing me and that sort of thing. So I didn't know very much, but I'm very glad I picked this up and read it. It's a great read. This story follows Jacob, whose grandfather is known for his tall tale stories of these peculiar children with extraordinary powers. But when tragedy strikes, Jacob embarks on his journey to go to the island of his grandfather's stories. There he must try to figure out if what he saw was just a made-up story from his imaginative and somewhat frail mind at the moment, or if all the stories are true. I would give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the only reason it's not 5 out of 5 stars is because I thought this would have more of a creep horror factor, because this book has a lot of creepy pictures in it, like just silhouetted people or creepy clown kids. And yeah, so there's just a lot of creepy pictures, and I thought it would be more like of a creepy type story, so I was a little disappointed to find out that that was not the case. There were creepy moments, and like some of the creatures are rather creepy, but that's the only reason I'm not giving this 5 out of 5 stars, because I loved the writing style, I loved the plotline, and I especially loved the creepy photos throughout this novel. But this is all it for the non-spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled by the beginning, middle, end of this book, I suggest you exit out this video, go read the book, and then come on back when you're finished. This story starts off with our main character Jacob, and he's just having one of his normal days working at the department store that his family owns, and he's trying to get fired every day, and I find that hilarious. Then this book moves forward, and Jacob receives a frantic phone call from his grandfather talking about monsters that are trying to get him. And Jacob just assumes that this is one of his grandfather's just episodes, and that he would go over there, try to get his grandfather calmed down, and then that would be the end of it. But it turns out when he goes to find his grandfather, his friend comes along, and they find the house abandoned and kind of torn down, like his grandfather was fighting someone or something. Jacob ventures out into the woods, and there he finds his grandfather's mutilated body. When Jacob finds his grandfather's body, he looks to the shadows to see if there's a wild animal nearby, because of course that's the only thing that he thinks could have happened, and instead he sees this wicked monster with these tentacles coming from its mouth, and it just really startles him. But his friend comes up and says there's nothing there, he can't see anything. Then Jacob's parents force Jacob into psychiatric care, and he sees this psychiatrist known as Dr. Golan. He gets help and just realizes that, okay, these monsters aren't real. It's just that his acute stress disorder is acting up, and that's why he can't sleep at night, and he's seeing all these monsters where there aren't any, and that sort of thing. I really like that Jacob wasn't just okay after this tragic accident, this trauma that he suffered, because most people wouldn't be. If you walked in and saw a loved one just murdered, you aren't going to be okay. And there's too many books that I read where tragedy strikes and the characters, they like are kind of sad about it for a minute, and then it's just like, oh, it's forgotten, and they don't suffer through it throughout the novel and have time to get over it. I was very happy that Ransom included that part in this book, because it's very realistic. People don't just get over tragedies the next minute. I must say I did not see this book going where it did. I thought maybe in the beginning when Jacob went to his grandfather's house that his grandfather would kind of kidnap him and force him to go to the islands with them so that they could be safe. I did not expect Jacob to find his grandfather's dead body. I wasn't expecting that at all. The beginning was pretty good. It was like a little slow building up to like meeting the peculiar children and that sort of thing, but that's expected because you can't just dive into this world you know nothing about. You need some of the background for the characters and the reasonings why other people don't know that this world exists and that sort of thing. When we get to the island, I wasn't sure how Ransom would incorporate this peculiar world. I was hoping that he wouldn't just dump Jacob into it and be like, okay, have fun. Now that would just be so abrupt, and I don't think that would have worked out well. But the way Ransom Riggs incorporated this world into the actual world was just phenomenal, and I was extremely satisfied. Now, speaking of the Peculiar Children, I loved all of the Peculiar Children. My favorite might have to be Millard, the Invisible Boy, because, I don't know, he had like this kind of intellectual, witty sense of humor, because he was just kind of like, yeah, duh, everybody knows that, kind of, and a little snarky about it, but not to the point where you're like, okay, that's rude. But I thought he added a lot of lightness to the story, and I really liked him. And then we have Olive, who is on the cover, and she levitates. And I thought she was so adorable. She's such a cute little character. I picture her, like, if she was born today, she'd be in these, like, princess fairy gowns with her hair in, like, little golden curls and just, like, this adorable little girl. One of my favorite scenes was the parachute scene with her, where she helped everybody jump off the roof because she wouldn't just fall and smack on the ground. She would slowly drift down so she could get them all down safely, and I just love that scene. It was so cute. She's just an adorable character. Anyways, Bronwyn, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I'm not entirely positive. I just loved at the end how clever she was, because usually there's that whole stereotype of there's the brain and the brawn and you can't be both, but she is both, and I am so happy for that. I'm so happy that stereotype was just struck down and thrown out the window, because you can be both. You can be strong, you can have the brains, you can be anything. So I'm very happy for that. Next I want to talk about Enoch. I really enjoyed his power. He can take the life from one thing and transfer it to another. We first see him in the home transferring, I believe it's rat hearts, that energy into clay soldier or clay dolls and making them alive and moving. And that's such a creepy gift, but that was pretty cool. I hope we learn more about it and we see him do more with it in the next book. But overall, his character creeped me out. That's just a creepy little child. Yeah. The next character is Emma, and she can manipulate fire. She can like create flame in her hand for like light or as a weapon. And while she isn't my like favorite overall female protagonist, I really enjoyed her character. I especially liked at the end when she just kind of freaked out when Dr. Golan threw the cage with Miss Peregrine in it in bird form, and I think it's Miss Avocet. I think that's how you say it. And Emma just freaked out and started basically burning his neck with her hands and just basically trying to kill him. She had a little psychotic break, and that was a really interesting part because we see how dedicated and how loyal she is to her family, which consists of all these orphans, peculiar children. Next is Jacob, the main character whose narration we follow, and I didn't particularly care for him that much. I thought he was a very ordinary and bland character. I kind of figured he was peculiar. I did like Jacob as a character at some points. He just wasn't my favorite character in this series. He just seems very bland and, I don't know, just kind of ordinary and human, I guess, is the best way to describe him. He's raised as human. He wasn't raised as a peculiar child. So he just has very ordinary and human intentions and motives. But as for Jacob, I really hope he grows on me in the next novel. I really hope he comes into himself a little bit more, and I hope we just see more from him. And now into the ending. I must say, I kind of predicted that Dr. Golan, Jacob's psychiatrist, would have a role to play. I kind of figured he was a bad guy. I didn't know what role exactly he would play, but I don't know, I just kind of saw that coming. Like, halfway through the book, I was thinking, no psychiatrist in their right mind would send one of their patients just out of the country on a hopeless journey. Like, they wouldn't do that unless they had another ulterior motive. So I was kind of thinking that Dr. Golan was gonna somehow be involved with the bad people. And he indeed was. He was a white. And a white, they work for the Hollows, and they're humans, but not really human. The Hollows are the creature Jacob was seeing in his dreams. It's the creature that he saw when he found his grandfather's dead body. That tentacle-esque creature, that's what a hollow is, and they hunt for peculiars and they try to kill peculiars, and the whites help them because Whites can go into loot, but hollows can't. The hollows, they are invisible, so that's why Jacob is peculiar, because he can see these hollows while nobody else can. I did not expect him to be the white at all, though. I did not think he would play that role, because I thought the old man who lived by Jacob's grandfather's house was the white. But apparently, that was Dr. Golan too, and Jacob's bus driver was Dr. Golan, and everybody Jacob knew was Dr. Golan, basically. That man is a master in the art of deception, that is for sure. I was kind of surprised that the encounter with the hollow gas didn't occur more frequently throughout the novel. We saw it right when Jacob found his grandfather, but we didn't know exactly what it was, and I was kind of disappointed not to get like glimpses at it that would put Jacob on edge and just kind of make him very impulsive. I wanted to see what he would do if he was faced with the hollow gas. I was wondering what it would be like if the hollow gas kind of not necessarily saw Jacob, but Jacob saw it, and how Jacob would react. Like, would he try to fight it? Would he run? I was thinking he would probably run away because he had no idea what this creature was until halfway through this book. But yeah, I was just kind of curious as to why we didn't see more glimpses at the hollow gas, and instead only saw it toward the very end when Jacob fought with it and then killed it. The next book is called Hollow City, so I think these children are going to go on to a journey, and they're going to end up in a city that is made specifically for hollows, or that it's just maybe an old town that is just overrun with hollows, but somehow they're going to end up just smack in the middle of a bunch of hollows. I think that something's going to happen that's going to cause a divide between Jacob and the peculiar children, because he had this conflict between whether he should stay with the peculiars or return to his family, and he decided he would stay with the peculiars. I don't think he's fully accepted that yet, because in the novel we see him thinking about his family and how much he's going to miss them and how much he already does miss them. So I think something's going to happen, like maybe his family's going to get hurt and he's going to try to go back and save them, or just something's going to happen that's going to cause that divide between him and the peculiars. But that's it for my book talk on Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I really enjoyed this book. I hope you guys can pick it up and read it as well if you have not, or if you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And yeah, so I will talk to you guys later, okay? Bye!